Welcome back, everyone. Well, as many of you know, in case you don't know, we're going to tell you, we're really fortunate. We have the best children's museum right here in the North Country, the World Awareness Children's Museum. And a repeat guest is the director, and that's Heather Hickland. Welcome back, Heather.
Hi, Jesse. Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm just so taken with what you do at this museum. Again, some of the structural stuff, it's located right on Warren Street, right off Centennial Circle in downtown Glens Falls. You can't miss it. It's street level, and you can see it. And it's not from the outside. It's from the inside that makes this place so special.
Nice.
The name is so encompassing. But, you know, when you think about it, the most important word in there to me is awareness. And it's the World Awareness Children's Museum. So for the people that may not know about it, tell us about the museum.
Sure, happy to. So we're actually celebrating our 21st year as a children's museum. And our mission is to bring our diverse world to children so that they can really feel excited and comfortable and curious about going out and exploring the world after they've had a chance to come to the museum.
Well, you know what? Let's face it. We live in a world that can be fear-based a lot of times. Sometimes that has to do with religion. Sometimes it has to do with culture. It has to do with all these other things. And here you are saying to a child who is probably the most curious time in their whole life is when they're a child, that it's okay to be curious, that you don't have to be afraid of it. And by the way, here's an example of what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And the museum has permanent exhibits that address just that.
We do.
Give me an example.
Well, we really think that a big piece of the learning that kids get from our museum is not what's different about every culture, it's what is the same for people around the world. It's a permanent gallery called Home and Family Life that has a Japanese tea house. So their house might look a little different, but really they want a family. They want to be loved. They want a home that's safe. We have a Nigerian marketplace that's about, you know, learning about exchange of currency for the goods that you need and shopping with your family.
Right.
And, you know, the performing arts and the art room that show that we all need those pieces to really inspire our life and bring joy. So it's as much about what we have in common with people around the world so that when we see those differences to culture or country or currency, that we understand that those are interesting and exciting.
Yes, that's right. It's not alien.
But they're not scary.
Yes,
they're
that's
all
right.
about the same needs.
You know, we've been through the museum many times doing stories, and you just happened to touch on that music room. I love that music room, all that percussion and all the instruments. You know, and the children really do. They get the opportunity to go in and express themselves. That's what they're looking to do. And
They do.
I just really take to heart the point you're making. It's not what's different. It's what's the same, what you have in common. The museum is always looking to bring in new exhibits. Some of those become part of the permanent exhibit space. I know. I love the one that just started, right?
Thank
in
you.
mid-December, right before Christmas?
Right before the break. So
Right.
we
What's
had
it
lots
called?
of kids coming. It's called Spectral Beauty.
Right.
And it's really, if you sum it up in one word, it's about inclusiveness in the museum. It's about welcoming all children to our space and making sure that they have the best time they possibly can have.
Now, some of the challenges that these children might have, and again, you know, it's somewhat inherent in the name, spectral beauty. You know, if your child is on the spectrum, you know, you're aware of that and when that child comes in. But the children do have challenges in a lot of areas that you might not expect. So what do you focus on?
So this exhibit is focused on sensory sensitivity, and for people who aren't familiar with that term, it is something commonly known for any parent who has a child with autism spectrum disorder or ADD or ADHD or even just a sensory processing disorder. It's very, very common. They estimate it's as many as 1 in 6 children. And it's really about how do you perceive the world around you, how do your senses regulate the input that you get from the world around you, whether it's sight or touch or hearing or, you know, our vestibular senses or our proprioceptive senses, all the things we learned about from the consultants we had on this exhibit.
Yes, I know. And again, because you are talking about the senses here, it could be visual, it could be hearing, could be smell, could be sound, could be touch, right?
Absolutely.
All of those. And it actually goes further than that, doesn't it?
It does. It's really just about how all those senses interact with each other and what is the play, so that for children who have these sensitivities, if they come into a new space, it can sometimes just be really overwhelming, the intersection of new sounds and new sights, or new sounds and new touches. We love our World Clothing Gallery, for example, but
yes, that's great.
For some children, that's difficult for them, the idea of putting on additional layers of clothing. They'd be sensitive to that. So one adaptation we made to that area was to add an electronic game where they could move outfits around in an electronic game instead of having to physically try them on themselves.
Well, I'll tell you something. This museum is so rare and so special. You really have to make it. You're a grandparent, you're a parent, you're an older brother or sister or whatever. You've got to take child. I think 4 to 11 is kind of the core age group, right?
It is.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
Although I know
absolutely.
you're getting younger children as well.
We do. We see toddlers all the time, and they have a great time. They play. Our educational content, we find, seems to resonate the most with kids ages 4 to 11, though.
Well, we were joking. I think I even said it earlier today, like 40 is the new 60. Well, toddlers is the new 4.
There you go.
Can't help. I watched my granddaughters, 3 years old, just take the iPad and just go.
I know, it's crazy.
I'm thinking to myself, what's going on there? I don't know. Just to go back on the sensitivity issue, that again, the children in that, they're self-conscious. They're not exactly sure. So you really do have to help find a path for them so that they're at ease, right? And I know you do that really well.
We really want to just make sure that all children feel welcome and comfortable. So even simple things like the sensory kit, that we have some items here for adaptive devices that we'll always have available for a family that wants to borrow them. So if their child's sensitive to noise, they can have noise-canceling headphones.
They have noise-canceling
headphones. If they're sensitive to light, a visor. If they need a fidget toy, or that they have.
You don't mind if I take this,
No,
do you?
not at all.
We got a fidget issue going on here. We might have to deal with.
So those will be available all the time for any family or child that might need them. We've created a small quiet area within the museum now too, where if they start to get a little overwhelmed, and again, any of us with toddlers in our lives, we know that's normal. There's some place that you can take them just off to the side, a small little nook with some padded chairs and some storybooks and a little tent where they can go and kind of reset themselves and calm down.
Calm down. Well, Heather, thank you so much for coming in again.
My pleasure.
You're welcome anytime. You want to come in and talk about this wonderful place to take your children. Again, it's and I have to look at it, the World Awareness Children's Museum.
You've got
and it's located in Glens Falls. It's on Warren Street, right off Centennial Circle. You can't get lost. You can't miss it. And it's open?
Thursday through Saturday, 9:30 to 5, and Sundays noon to 5.
Terrific. Okay, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to really, like I said, check this place out. Thanks for coming in, Heather.
Thank you so much.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.